Hello there, my dear friends. I'm glad you're here today. I want to share a conversation that feels very personal and honest, a chat from one seasoned soul to another. Over the years, we've all experienced the gentle ebb and flow of life, the subtle shifts in our routines, and sometimes even the little signs that whisper to us that our journey is taking a different turn. Today, I'd like to talk about something that may seem a bit daunting at first. The 7 signs elders show a year before they die and their solutions. Now, I know that sounds rather grim, but please bear with me, because our goal isn't to frighten anyone. Instead, it's to recognize those signals, understand what they might be telling us, and find comforting, practical ways to make our lives richer, even when faced with life's inevitable transitions. Before we start, welcome to Old Age Support. This is a place for us seniors to chat about life, health, and staying happy as we age. No fancy talk, just real honest conversations. If that sounds good to you, go ahead and subscribe so we can navigate this journey together. Now, before we dive in, let me say this. I'm no doctor or psychic. I'm simply an old friend sharing observations gathered over a lifetime. Think of it as a gentle reminder to pay attention to the small changes in our lives, the subtle nudges that sometimes hint at what's ahead. And if you find yourself nodding along or even feeling a bit unsettled, I invite you to take heart in the fact that every sign also brings with it an opportunity for a new beginning or a much-needed adjustment. So grab a cup of tea, settle into your favorite chair, and let's explore these 7 signs together, along with some friendly, practical solutions to help you continue living with purpose, joy, and a touch of humor. It might surprise you, but one of the first signs to notice is a gradual withdrawal from social activities. Perhaps you find yourself skipping weekly community gatherings, or that neighborly chat on the porch feels like too much effort these days. I remember my dear friend Harold, always the life of the party, suddenly preferring quiet afternoons on his own. At first I worried, but when I spoke with him, he explained that he was simply savoring the stillness and reflecting on memories. Now, while some quiet time is natural, if you notice that you're distancing yourself from loved ones or activities you once enjoyed, it could be a sign that you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by life's pace. The solution here isn't to force yourself back into a bustling crowd. Rather, it's to gently reconnect at your own pace. Consider starting with small gatherings, perhaps an afternoon tea with a couple of old friends or a phone call with a family member you haven't spoken to in a while. There are even local clubs and community centers that offer programs specifically designed for our stage of life. And if technology feels daunting, remember that a simple video call or even a letter can bridge the gap. It's all about balance. Embrace the solitude when you need it, but also recognize the joy that comes from sharing a laugh, a story, or even just a quiet moment with someone who cares. And if you're watching this and thinking, "That sounds like me," then why not take a small step today? Perhaps send a message to someone you haven't spoken with recently. I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Let's keep this conversation going. Another sign many of us might notice is the tendency to dwell on past regrets, or the feeling that there's unfinished business left behind. You might catch yourself musing over what might have been, or wishing you'd taken that chance long ago. I recall a time when I sat with my old diary and reread entries filled with both laughter and a few sorrowful regrets. It made me realize that while our past shapes us, it shouldn't imprison us. When we start expressing these feelings openly, it can be a sign that we're processing the realities of our life's journey. Rather than letting regret weigh us down, one solution is to focus on what you can still do. If there's an apology you've been meaning to offer, or a long-held dream that can still be pursued in some form, now might be the time to act. Sometimes writing a letter, even if it's never sent, can help you come to terms with the past. It can also be liberating to share these thoughts with a trusted friend, counselor, or even in a community group where others might be feeling the same way. I once met a lovely lady named Marjorie, who felt burdened by years of what-ifs. After a heart-to-heart with her son and a few journaling sessions, she embarked on a project to record her life stories. Not only did this bring her joy, but it also gave her family a precious gift, a legacy of wisdom and experience. So if you find yourself tangled in regrets, Try to see it as an invitation to mend old ties and perhaps start a new project that celebrates your unique journey. Have you ever found yourself cleaning out a drawer or a closet, only to realize that you no longer need half the things you've held onto for decades? This act of letting go isn't just about decluttering. It can be a profound sign that you're preparing for life's next chapter. Many of us start to simplify our lives, passing on cherished items to family or donating them to someone in need. It's a way of saying, I'm ready to focus on what truly matters. I remember my neighbor Elsie, who one spring decided to host a goodbye party for her old possessions. She shared stories behind each item: a scarf, a photo album, even a little wooden box full of trinkets, and it turned into a beautiful celebration of her life's memories. Her act of letting go was not about loss, but about making room for new experiences and connections. The solution here is to approach this process with gratitude. Instead of feeling sad about saying goodbye to the past, view it as a chance to pass on your legacy. Perhaps organize a small gathering with family members to reminisce and share why these items mattered. And if the thought of decluttering feels overwhelming, consider seeking help from friends or local organizations that specialize in senior services. By simplifying your environment, you might just find that your mind feels a little lighter too. Our bodies have a way of signaling when it's time to slow down or pay attention. It might be subtle, a change in appetite, a bit more fatigue than usual, or the joints that once moved freely now aching with each step. These physical changes are natural as we age, but when they become more pronounced, they can be an important sign that it's time to listen to your body a bit more carefully. Take my friend George, for example. For years, he prided himself on his morning walks and a hearty laugh. Over time, however, he began to notice that even a short stroll left him feeling unusually tired. Rather than ignoring these signs, George visited his doctor, adjusted his exercise routine, and made a few changes to his diet. Today, he's still active, though he's learned to pace himself and appreciate the quiet moments along the way. The solution here is straightforward. Don't hesitate to consult healthcare professionals when you notice significant changes. Regular checkups, gentle exercise routines, and a balanced diet can make a world of difference. And if you're feeling uncertain about what to do next, consider joining a local wellness group or even a gentle yoga class designed for seniors. Remember, taking care of your body is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself. Many of us eventually find that we crave a little more time alone, not because we're lonely, but because we need to reflect on our lives. This desire for solitude can be both a comfort and a challenge. On one hand, it offers the peace to meditate on our experiences. On the other, it can sometimes lead to feelings of isolation if we're not careful. I've had my fair share of quiet moments, sitting by the window with a cup of coffee and watching the world go by. There's something profoundly healing about that silence, a chance to think about the good times, the hard lessons, and everything in between. But if you notice that you're withdrawing too far from the world, it might be time to seek a balance. A practical solution is to designate reflection time as a regular part of your day. Maybe an hour in the morning or an evening ritual where you jot down your thoughts or simply sit in silence. Pair that with scheduled social activities, however small, to ensure that you're still nurturing your connections with others. For instance, you could join a book club or attend a local lecture series where you can share insights and learn from others. By embracing both solitude and community, you create a fulfilling rhythm in your life. Sometimes, you might notice a shift in how you approach daily routines. Tasks that once felt mundane might now carry a sense of urgency or finality, as if you're trying to squeeze every bit of meaning out of each day. It's as if the days are shorter and every moment counts a little more. I've seen this in myself and in friends who suddenly decide to finish long postponed projects or finally take that long overdue trip. This feeling can be both invigorating and overwhelming. On one hand, it reminds us to cherish the present. On the other, it can leave us feeling anxious about time slipping away. The key here is to use that sense of urgency as a catalyst for positive change. Start by making a list of small, achievable goals, perhaps learning a new recipe, revisiting an old hobby, or simply spending more quality time with a loved one. A few years back, my friend Richard decided to finally learn how to play the piano, a dream he'd harbored since his youth. With a little persistence and the support of a patient instructor, he found a new source of joy that filled his days with music and laughter. His story reminds us that it's never too late to try something new, even if it's just a small step towards fulfilling a long-held desire. So if you're feeling that extra push to seize the day, why not take that step? Write down one thing you've always wanted to do and plan how you might make it happen this week. The final sign we'll talk about today is perhaps the most profound, a shift in our emotional or spiritual landscape. As we grow older, many of us start to ponder life's deeper meanings. There may be moments when you feel a deep sense of peace, or perhaps a longing for a connection that transcends the everyday hustle. This isn't unusual. It's a natural evolution of our inner lives. I recall sitting in a small chapel one rainy afternoon, where the soft hymn playing in the background seemed to wrap me in warmth and understanding. In that moment, I felt a deep connection to something larger than myself, a mix of gratitude, acceptance, and even a little bittersweet farewell to what once was. This spiritual shift can manifest in many ways, through meditation, prayer, or simply quiet contemplation. If you find yourself experiencing these moments, consider embracing them. Join a local community group that explores spirituality, or even try guided meditation sessions. There are many resources available, books, online courses, and local classes that can help nurture this inner journey. And if you ever feel unsure or isolated in these feelings, remember that sharing your experiences with others can be incredibly healing. Your insights might just inspire someone else to look inward and find solace in their own way. As we come to the end of today's discussion, I want to remind you that these 7 signs are not a grim countdown, but rather gentle signals from our hearts and bodies, urging us to take a moment to reflect, reconnect, and renew our lives. Whether it's reaching out to an old friend, taking care of your health, or finally pursuing a long-held dream, every sign is a reminder that life is precious and every day counts. I understand that these conversations can stir up mixed emotions, fear, sadness, or even a sense of urgency. But please know that each of these feelings is a natural part of our human experience. The beauty of our later years lies in the wisdom we've accumulated, the memories we cherish, and the opportunity to shape the days ahead with intention and grace. If you're watching and find that one or more of these signs resonate with you, consider this a call to action. Not to worry, but to live more fully with a renewed sense of purpose. Let's share our stories. I invite you to leave a comment down below, share an experience, or even ask a question if you'd like to explore these topics further. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. There are community centers, healthcare professionals, and caring friends ready to support you every step of the way. And if you found this conversation meaningful, please consider subscribing to our channel so we can continue these honest, heartfelt discussions together. Thank you for spending this time with me, my friends. May we all find comfort in our memories, courage in our present, and hope in our future. Until next time, take care. Be kind to yourself